Good morning, America. How are ya? Monday Morning Rail. Hi, I'm Denny Jelsma, and I'm at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida. Today is Monday, and you know what we do on Monday? Yes, you guessed it. We do show and tell. And show and tell is always brought to you by Jelsma Graphics, the people that make all the embroidered railroad clothing. You could have hats, shirts, caps, all the things that you could imagine in railroad embroidering. All you do is go to jelsma.com. That's JELSMA.com. Once again, hats, shirts, caps. Go on the internet and shop and shop. And with all that being said, show and tell is going to start right now. Show and tell starts right now, and we have a very exciting show today. And we're going to talk about heavyweight dining cars, and specifically we're going to talk about the Seaboard airline. And I have a model here of a heavyweight dining car, and this happens to be a Walters heavyweight car. They made a beautiful copy of this. This is close to what the Seaboard ran, and this particular car that I made, I run it on the Gulf Wind. But I just want to kind of explain, first of all, the dining cars, the railroads took great pride in the food that they prepared, and that was just one of the signatures that the different railroads throughout the United States would advertise about their dining car. For an example, the Great Northern would advertise their trout fish. The Northern Pacific would advertise the baked potato. They had a huge baked potato. It was about 10 inches, a huge baked potato, and that was their signature. And so the different railroads would specialize in a particular meal. And so they were very, very important that they had good meals, and they'd hire a really good dining crew. And actually some of these cars had a lot of cooks and waiters, and it was really a cost item. It really cost the railroad a lot of money, but they felt that they wanted to provide that service that people would say, oh, hey, we're going to take the Seaboard because, boy, they got the best steak, or they have the best roast beef, or they have the best particular pie that they may take. And so, but they were really served great food. Now, it was very expensive. For an example, if back in the day when you could get a cup of coffee for a dime on the train, it was going to cost 25 to 30 cents, and you tipped a dime. And a meal that you could get at a typical restaurant, maybe $1. On the railroad, it was going to be $1.75 to $2.50, and it was usually almost twice as much. But the quality and the service that you got was just second to none, and the railroads took great pride. And so I want to kind of show you what I did to this car. Once again, I took this car, and it is just a plain Walters. First of all, many of the kitchens were just total stainless steel, and so even the walls up here were stainless. So I painted all the walls to make everything was stainless steel. And why they had stainless steel was just so much easier to clean, and it just kind of represented cleanliness. But I'm going to tilt it a little bit. And the crews, a typical dining car crew, had 7 to 8 crew people in it. Depending upon the patronism, sometimes they would cut it back. And then they always had the head maitre d', and boy, he was the boss of the kitchen. And I've got one right here. And when they would seat you always fill up a table. Even though these could be empty, they would put, if you may have two people there, they'd put, if there was two of you, they'd put you right there. And it was kind of a neat deal because you got to meet a lot of people, and I had some great conversations with different people eating on a dining car. And so my dining car here, I filled up with people. Now, one of the things that I use, and I found out, instead of using 1 to 87 in HO, I order 1 to 100. They're a little bit smaller because they'll fit in the chairs, and the 1 to 87 just kind of overtower the car, and so they look a little bit more realistic when you use 1 to 100. And you could go on eBay. That's where I typically buy my people, and so you could. They're very reasonable, and so I'd recommend. But you can see what I've done to this car. Now, the other thing that I've added the window shade blinds. Some of the cars use Venetian blinds and some use shades. I've got here is Venetian blinds, and these are decals that I order from Circuit City. And so Circuit City has, I feel, a real good decal and a great variety of different types of widths when it comes to window shades and colors. And so it just adds that one extra level. Then if you look here on the table itself, you've got the dinnerware, the flatware, a plate, forks, and knife. The only thing I haven't put on this car is the food, and so I haven't figured that out, how I could show food. But it's really adds that extra little detail, and it's really doesn't cost that much. With all the little extras, the people, the shades, and the decals for the food, I may have $20, if that. And then I'm going to put the Walters lighting car kit. It goes right in there, and then that'll light up, and that there just adds the extra. Now, typically a lighting car kit is about $15 to $16, but boy, it's well worth it. It makes that car look just really very realistic. Now, you got to make sure that you get the proper color of lighting, and depending upon the time, the lights would be a little yellow. Later on, they started using fluorescent lights, and so there would be a little bit more whiter. But I add this, and then your roof goes right on there. But it just adds that little bit extra detail to this car. And so once again, I'm going to use this particular car on the Gulf Wind. It ran from Jacksonville to New Orleans. They left about 5 o'clock, and they started meal service around 5:30. One of our members always talks about his train ride to New Orleans with his father, and they ate in the dining car, and he ate breakfast in the dining car also. But they would serve a nice meal starting about 5:30 till about 7, and they would take the car off at Tallahassee, and then it would go to Flemington, Alabama, and the Gulf Wind would combine with the Piedmont, which had a L&N diner, and it went on to New Orleans. But this here is just an example of what you could do with the Walters dining car to add a little bit of realism. And then, once again, if you look real close, I paint all of my couplers rust for some. That's just a little fetish that I have, because here you got this beautiful model, and all the couplers are always rust. And so sometimes I'll take this Walters diaphragm and I'll use an American limited diaphragm. On this car here I did, but just as a good example of what you can do with a Walters car and really make that car shine and stand out. Naturally, I added the car number, and so now my next step is I'm going to have Rodney Butcher, our president. He knows how to tweak these cars, and you've got to tweak cars on your layout to make sure that they're run. One of the reasons why our cars don't derail on this railroad, or at the Jacksonville Terminal Railroad, is because we look at every car, we adjust all the little adjustments, and we make sure it runs smooth. So that is what I have for show and tell. I did this over the weekend, and one of the purposes of show and tell is we bring our cars in and we show everybody what we did in the past week. And we want to thank all the people that keep watching us week after week. Last week's show, we had over 16,000 people watch it. And we also we went to St. Louis, Missouri. Andrew Casey, North Florida Rail, the world famous rail fan. We went to Ken Patterson's What's Neat this week, and we were on that show. And so go to Ken Patterson's What's Neat this week, show number 312, and look us up and make a comment. And with all that being said, that's the way it is at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is an absolute pleasure and peace and harmony and a controlled atmosphere.